What is something that all Mega Minecraft builds have in common? Well, you'd have never guessed it, but one of the main things that sets those mega builds apart from regular builds is that they require many more resources to make. And in this video, I want to build every automatic farm that I'll need because I'm planning to build a massive mega base that has everything I would ever possibly want, including a villager trading hall, a huge automatic storage room, and much more. Okay, so there are 3 things I want to get done before I start building the farms. The first thing to do is upgrade all my tools and armor to netherite, so... there we go, that's much better. The second thing I need to do is actually name my pet sheep I found in the last video, and I got 2 name suggestions, Punky and Frederick. So I decided to choose, well, yeah, no. And the third thing to do is find a spot that's relatively flat because for all the farms I want to build, I like to make a massive perimeter then put all the farms inside. And I found this forest to be pretty flat if I remove all the trees. Now that the trees are gone, I need to flatten the land to y -68 so I only have to rebuild the TNT bombers once. And yeah, you heard me, TNT bombers. You guys thought I would mine this by hand? You guys are something else. But I did have to mine some stone, and that's where my beacon came in handy with the haste 2 effect. And all the farms I'm going to be making will range from basic farms that will get me materials to farms that will literally get me a beacon every minute. And make sure to stick around as I have a special announcement at the end of the video. Anyway, now that the land is all flattened to the right height, I have to clear out all the water and lava in the perimeter so the TNT wouldn't be stopped. And that requires sponges, and sponges mean ocean monuments, and ocean monuments means I need to find an ocean. And I've actually found an ocean off camera earlier while trying to find some coral blocks, so this should be a good spot to look. And now that I have all the needed sponges, I have to do the time-consuming part of clearing out all the water. So I think I'll come in here and start spamming sponges. Okay, that won't work very well. So I think the best way to remove the water is just to divide it into 3-part sections and drain those individually. And so when I run out of dry sponges, I can just come to the nether and dry them off. So after a while, I had drained all the water I had found and began the perimeter process. Okay, so I saw this video about how to make a perimeter in 5 seconds and I want to see if it works. So I have to put this TNT here and cover it up with redstone. And a lever here. Now, as soon as I flick this lever, it should work. So... and would you look at that, it actually worked. At least I didn't have to spend 18 hours repairing the flying machines every time they broke and removing all the hidden water and lava and using all my blocks to fill in the lava. On the plus side, I did get a ton of diamond ore. Comment how many diamonds you'll think I'll get, and at the end of the video, I'll mine it all up. But at least the perimeter is finished, so now I can start working on the farms. The first farm I'm gonna build is a wood farm for, wood, of course. This farm is pretty basic, and I already have all the materials for it, so I can build it pretty easy. The next farm I'm gonna build is a shulker farm because all these farms produce lots of materials, and I don't want my storage looking like this. For this farm, I need 21 stacks of scaffolding, which requires string and bamboo. So I flew to the nearby bamboo forest and collected some bamboo, and for string, I killed spiders until day 1000. I meant build a string duper. And after that, I easily crafted up the needed scaffolding as well as some slabs and such. And I think I'll keep all the mob farms on the opposite side of the perimeter as the material farms just to keep things tidy. Okay, that didn't take too long, but the hard part is actually bringing a shulker to the overworld. I think I'm gonna make a track going from the end city to the portal, then all the way to my perimeter. Wow, okay, that took a while, but I finally got the farm working. And as you can see, it produces tons of shells. The next farm on the list is an iron farm because if you think about it, iron is one of the most used materials next to wood and stone. And for this iron farm I'm building, it requires 21 stacks of glass. So I could manually mine sand until I'm done, but that'll take a long time. So if I build a sand farm real quick, I can have all the needed sand in no time. This sand farm produces sand really fast, so after a few minutes of AFKing, I had all the needed sand. Now I can smelt it all into glass. And I just need a few more materials like 20 some stacks of slabs, a bit of packed ice, and a few other things. And I think next to the shulker farm is a good spot for it because we need to keep things compact enough to fit all the farms. This iron farm is pretty fast, but it does require 15 villagers and a pillager to operate. And luckily there is a village nearby, so I can just steal a couple of villagers. But the pillager is the tricky bit, as the nearest outpost is all the way over here. But I think if I put them in a boat and just row back, that should do the trick. And if I put them in a minecart and give them a push, the farm should start up. The next farm to build is a gold farm, and I need gold for trading with piglins, which is the next farm I'm going to build. But the farm also gives XP, so I can use it to repair my tools and armor. The main block I need for the gold farm is magma, a whole 23 stacks of magma. That means I'll be mining for a while, so y'all know what that means. Okay, that should be all the magma collected. Now I just have to get a few more items and find a good spot to build. I think this spot next to my portal looks pretty good. Actually, funny story, I built this farm in a few of my other survival worlds, and I used to place the magma first instead of the slabs, and I probably popped 7 to 8 totems because of all the ghasts. But now I know to build the slabs first, then the magma, so I don't get blasted to smithereens. And Frostwalker boots help a lot so I don't take damage every second. And with that, the gold farm is complete. The next farm is actually going to be built right next to my gold farm, and it's a piglin trading farm. If you didn't know, piglins trade up to 18 different items, and I'm actually going to use the nether bricks they trade for the wither skeleton farm later. And for this farm, I obviously need a bunch of piglins, preferably 10 at least in each of the 4 chambers. And I purposely built this farm over Crimson Forest, so if I build a platform like this, then piglins can spawn, I name tag them, then lure them into the chambers. The next farm is going to be a slime farm, which uses the new 1.21 oozing effect. And the farm is compact and pretty easy to make, so it should fit right next to my iron farm here. Now, to use the farm requires some of the oozing pots, which I totally didn't have trouble making, as well as a few stacks of snow blocks, which I conveniently collected from a nearby mountain. And to start the farm, all I need to do is place snow blocks here, and they should... okay, something's broken. And it turns out I forgot to get pumpkins for the snow golems. Like, guys, give me a break. At least some of y'all have tried to make a snow golem without a pumpkin, right? Anyway, with the slime farm complete, there are only a few big farms left. So before I start the raid farm, I want to mentally prepare myself by first building a quick concrete farm. Okay, now I think it's time to move on to the big boys, starting with the raid farm. Minecraft seriously nerfed raid farms in 1.21, but they can still be useful when you want to collect a few resources. I found this design by Nash on YouTube, link in the description, and I tested it in a creative world, and it produces lots of gunpowder and redstone, which are the items I want. This farm needs to be built over an ocean, and I found one with the village on the mainland, which is huge as the farm requires 6 villagers to operate. And I can just bring them in a boat like so. This water column here can then bring them to the top where I drop them down into their boxes. And that right there completes the raid farm. Okay, now with only 2 farms left on the list, I think it's time to take a break. Okay, after that quick refreshment, it's time to get back to the farms. I have been AFKing at the gold farm for a bit and I got a ton of gold. And I want to use the gold to trade for nether bricks because, yep, you guessed it, the next farm is going to be a wither skeleton farm. I need about 14 stacks of nether bricks, so that's where this trading farm comes in handy. I already have a few stacks already, but for the rest, I think it's fastest just to smelt a bunch of netherrack. All this farm really is just a platform for the wither skeleton to spawn on, then the iron golem lures them into the portal where they pass a bridge and eventually wind up at the killing chamber. I found a nether fortress in a soul sand valley, and here will be a good spot for the platform. Also, thanks to ENXO4 for building this farm, and I have a link in my Discord in the description where you guys can download all the schematics for these farms as well as my shaders and stuff from my first video. So now all that's left to do is link the nether portals together, and it looks like it's working pretty good. Now the biggest and hardest farm on the list is ironically cobblestone. Going from the second material I ever got in this world to the biggest farm I have, producing over 500,000 cobblestone per hour. But the reason I saved this farm for last is because I already have all the needed farms to produce the required materials. I have the raid farm for redstone, iron farm for hoppers, slime farm for sticky pistons, wood farm for chests, sand farm for glass, trading farm for obsidian, and so on. And back to the perimeter. Okay, for some reason I just noticed the walls be looking a bit rough. But I don't feel like fixing it, so I guess it's a problem for future me. Anyway, I think next to the concrete farm is a good spot for this cobblestone farm, so... Okay guys, the last block of the farm right here, and that completes all the farms. And now there are only two things left to do. The first one is to mine all the diamonds I collected at the beginning of this video. And in total, I had collected 2.5 shulker boxes of diamonds, and that equals about 4,300 diamonds total. And don't be saying that I cheated in the comments. Why don't you guys try to mine out a whole perimeter? And lastly, for every subscriber I get until my next video, I will mine one piece of ancient debris, and I can't wait to see how much I get in the end. And with that, have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time.